Oh, whoa, hey! Hey guys, Jason Moore here, JS Moore. Hey, yeah, Boris said, get over here and talk about this, Jason. Okay, what are we going to talk about? He said, the Times News, Kingsport Times News. I said, okay, Boris, what do you want me to do here? All right, so let's break into this here. All right. Sullivan Studies request on study. Commissioner wants Kingsport BOE to drop restrictions on consultant looking at school facilities. Okay, sure, yeah. Whatever advice they're getting that way is a bunch of crap, in my opinion. All right, I want to see what is really local here because Boris said he went through the metro section. Most of it come from somewhere else, another state. Other than Vince's article, Hank Hayes, Osborne, some of them, but they're getting few and far between. Our paper's been hijacked by the, Viacom's the blanket that owns them. Viacom owns MTV. They own Johnson City Press. These are the smaller ones here. They own Johnson City Press. The East Tennessean, which is the East Tennessee State's newspaper, and Kingsport Times News. They own some other ones in the area too, but anyway. I respect the Jones brothers in Greene County because they've held on to the family newspaper, even though it's largely Republican. Anyway, Kingsport schools and one student hoping for a big score. Rick Wagner. Okay, good. Kingsport Research Foundations. Good. Park Hill neighbor Matthew Lane. I'm not going to question Lane. I like Lane. If city officials don't want to talk to him, then he's doing his job. But he needs to make sure they do talk to him. All right. Drawing card. Mick's new gig. I don't really care about Mick Jagger. I don't know why they even put this Who's in the News because, that belongs in the Inquirer or Entertainment Tonight or Entertainment Today or whatever those magazines are. Teacher tried to stop Washington State shooting. Okay, Tulip. Okay, this is, I guess, world news now. Washington. How do you pick a college? Okay. Los Angeles. You know, what a newspaper is, it's educational, supposedly. But it could also be brainwashing. I think of the Pink Floyd song, The Wall. You know, we don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teachers, leave those kids alone. From job to job to job, a life lived and lost. And that's actually written by someone in New Jersey. Sullivan Studies, okay. Casey, Ebola, New York. Now, they're going to keep Ebola in the news to make people afraid. Period. They brought somebody here that had it because they didn't have anybody in the United States here that had it. And who's to blame on that? You can't say it's Obama. If you are, then you're an idiot. Who brought it here? Whoever pulls the strings brought it here. And that's not President Obama or his administration. The CDC, perhaps? That's in Atlanta, if you didn't know. You ever watch that Walking Dead show? All right. Educate yourself, people. Don't be stupid. Don't be sheep. Traffic light control, where to stop and when to go, whether to proceed with caution or risk a heavy toll. There's more to that story. Yeah, you can find that in Understanding Apples by J.S. Moore. But anyway, traffic light control. Is there cameras at every traffic light now? It's getting that way. A few details offered on Ebola quarantines, and there's old Governor Chris Christie. Now they're positioning him and Como to be like presidential candidates, but watch out. Jeb Bush will be the one that they're going to really push. They're going to keep him out of the news until the last minute, and he's going to appear to save the day, the Bush dynasty once again. If you did not know, George H.W. Bush, his wife, is Barbara Pierce. Barbara Pierce is the granddaughter of Franklin Pierce, one of the worst presidents ever. This guy named Washington Irving, who wrote The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, was a rock star in his day. Everybody read his books. And Franklin Pierce wanted to get elected, so he hired Washington Irving to write this, what they call a Horatio Algier story, the biography of Franklin Pierce. And because Irving was a rock star, it turned Pierce into a legend, and he got elected. But he was a terrible president. And that was the grandfather to Barbara Pierce Bush. And anyway, here we are in Kingsport. All right, George H.W. Bush arguably may have been conceived right here in what they call White City. When he was campaigning against Dukakis, he came back home here to Kingsport where his parents lived up here, and he pitched horseshoes with their neighbor. That was in the newspaper, I think in 1988. I think that's right. Don't quote me on it. Maybe it's 92. I think it was against Dukakis, though. I'm pretty sure. Or Dukaka, whatever. Which, I can talk about that some other time. Here we are looking at the the Kingsport Crimes newspaper, because it's a crime, the news that they give us, in my opinion. There are more newsworthy stories out there, but the Times News is not concerned with bringing them to the people. Every time I write a book, it's like pulling teeth to get them to do any kind of coverage. Now, when I wrote the books on Harry, one of their writers actually contacted me on his own and did a full-page article, and I appreciate that. George Thwaites is his name. He's one of the only good writers left. And when I say only, I mean there's a handful, 5, 6, 7 writers, but the Times News used to have a larger staff. The Sandusky group got it in there, and all they're concerned about is money and the Associated Press, and to me, that's brainwashing. It's cookie cutter news you can get in any city, and you know, the newspaper should be local. It should be more local, and they're just all about the money. I wouldn't take an ad out in their paper to save my life. I would not. Not that people even read the newspaper anymore. They don't go to the BMA meetings anymore. They're disinterested that way. They've lost faith. They've lost their faith in those people that are responsible taking care of us. And they don't. They don't take care of us. This is a rant. It's a tangent. I know it needs to be a little more lighthearted. Actually, here we go. Mad Magazine published a book here. Mads, Al Jaffe spews out snappy answers to stupid question. What's this book about? Okay. What's this book about? It's about moronic questions like that one, and clever answers like these. Okay, hey, what's that book about? It's about 7 inches tall, 4 inches wide, and 192 pages thick. Good answer. Hey, what's that book about? It's about the most ridiculous idea for a book ever conceived. What's that book about? It's about time that idiot out there stopped reading this cover and bought it. Well, I gave 10 cents for this at a yard sale. So, how you like me now? Alright guys, thanks for listening, and we'll go on to the living section next, see what books they're reviewing. See ya.